Hello, everybody. This is Betsy Wurzel, host of Chatting with Betsy on Passionate World Talk Radio, where we educate, entertain, and enlighten. And I have a very special guest with me today. I am so honored to have Shira Blumenthal with me. She is from New York. Shira is Lion Brand Yarn Company ambassador. And if you're not familiar with Lion Brand Yarn, I suggest you go on the Facebook page and watch Shira's show called the Shi Show. Shira is so talented. She started a campaign, which is for anti-bullying, called HAT, H-A-T, Not Hate Foundation. I love it. Shira, I want to welcome you to Chatting with Betsy.
Thank you so much for having me, Betsy.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Please tell the audience what you do, because I probably didn't do you any justice in my intro, because you were just so fascinating.
Oh, thank you. You know what? Now with my campaign called Hat Not Hate, I say that I wear many hats. So I initially started out working at Lion Brand Yarn, which is a family-owned and operated business, and we are now in our 5th generation. And I'm part of the 5th generation, which is pretty cool. And I started out working at Lion Brand Yarn's flagship store in New York City, and I specialized in teaching children how to knit and crochet. And the reason why I did that is, as a student, I always felt that there are so many different ways to look at something and to learn something. And with the amazing teachers that I had growing up, they were able to do that for me. And they were able to teach me possibly a little bit differently than everybody else. And that's what I believe about knitting and crochet, is that, not everyone learns the same way. And I believe that everyone can learn how to knit and can crochet, and it's just a matter of how you go about it. So I really enjoyed working with kids and being that person that gave them that priceless ability to knit and crochet. And then from there, I went on to becoming the brand ambassador for the company, which ultimately meant that I traveled around the country and the world talking about our brand and giving a face to the brand, that we're not just a ball of yarn in a store. We're so much more than that. And along with that, I started a web series called Shira on our YouTube page, which is an extremely informative channel on YouTube of how-to videos and information about yarn, and again, the web series Shira. And that's kind of what I was doing for a while. And then back in 2018, Hat Not Hate came to be as I was actually watching an interview of a young girl who was being bullied. She was 9 years old, and she was being bullied for the color of her skin. She was in a predominantly white school, and she was a black young girl, and she took it upon herself at the age of 9 to say, hey, this is not cool, and I'm going to make a difference. And what she ended up doing is she ended up collecting dolls of color to then distribute to other girls that are of color, so that they didn't feel as alone as she did. And I remember watching this interview, and I said to myself, gosh, if this girl can have this wherewithal at the age of 9, well, then I can have it at 29. And that's where Hat Not Hate came to be. I felt that a hat it can be as simple or as complicated as you want it to be. And I wanted these hats to be made by the amazing makers around the world, and they could use any blue yarn. They didn't have to use Lion Brand yarn, but I always say you get a gold star if you do. And the blue is because blue is the anti-bullying color, And with that, I put a call out, and I said, hey, listen, I'm looking for 1,500 blue hats. And with those 1,500 blue hats, I'm going to distribute them to a local school here in New York and teach them about bullying, kind of highlight this. Because one of the things I realized about, anti-bullying organizations, which Hat Not Hate is not yet, but hopefully one day we will become a 501c3, we're a campaign. And I found it very interesting that there are all these anti-bullying organizations out there that are actual 501c3s, and I'd never heard of them. And one of the things that I went through when I personally was bullied in 4th grade, and I remember feeling so alone and in so much pain and crying to my mother and my father and asking, why me, why me, why me? And I think that, they had said to me that it's, it's a rite of passage. It's not fair, but there will always be a so-and-so wherever you go. And, you just got to work through it and this, that. And I remember thinking to myself how unfair that is. Like, why should me feeling so much pain be a rite of passage? That doesn't seem right.
That's right. That's right.
That doesn't make sense.
That's so true, Shira.
and not only me, but myself. And even in my past, in the past 10 years, I've spoken to people that are adults that have been bullied in their workplace. And
yes.
And even now during this pandemic, a friend of mine shared with me where she was being bullied into having to go into her workplace, even though she wasn't comfortable, and they were putting her in a position. And I just, it steam was coming out of my ears, because there is absolutely no reason why anyone, no matter how old or young you are, that you should be bullied. And truthfully, that if you're listening to this, that maybe you're not the person that's being bullied, but maybe you are the bully. And as I've learned about talking about Hat Not Hate, I always say that I never ask people to raise their hand, but I always say that, there's at least someone in this room listening to this conversation, and they either have been bullied, witnessed bullying, or been a bully themselves. That's how common bullying is.
Oh, absolutely, Shira. Go ahead.
I believe that we, as a community, whether you're a crafter or not a crafter, that we can change this, that we can, for our future leaders and entrepreneurs of this world and people of this world, the children out there, that we can make a space for them where bullying shouldn't be a rite of passage, and kindness should overpower bullying. And I think that if we learn to communicate better and we learn to be kind to one another, then we can make a difference. And that's what Hat Not Hate is about. And in my first year, I asked for 1,500 hats, and I received 2,600 hats. And I mean, man, the furthest one coming from Benghazi, Libya. Like, I'd never received anything from Benghazi, Libya. And here I was receiving a blue hat. And in that moment, when I remember, it was actually my 30th birthday when these hats came, and I remember hearing the number 2,600. I said to myself, I think I'm on to something. I think people get it. And the next year we asked for 2,500 hats and 25,000 hats, and we received actually 23,117 hats. And then the next year we asked for 100,000 hats, but that was actually in 2020, and then a pandemic happened. So everything kind of slowed down a little bit, but now what we've done is we've taken our 32,541 beautiful blue hats from 2020, And we are rolling them over into 2021 with hopes of getting that difference and getting that goal of 100,000 for August. And with these hats, Betsy, we then take them and we distribute them to schools all around the country and communicating the message of anti-bullying and how children really have the opportunity to be an upstander rather than a bystander, and they can make a difference by wearing this blue hat.
Oh, I love it. I just love it. As someone who was bullied, I'm 63 years old, I'm not ashamed to say, I was bullied. This is way, way before social media. I don't even know how kids deal with bullying these days with social media, 24/7. It's horrible. And I think it's a shame, Shira, that children commit suicide because of the meanness of people. And you're right. I was bullied in the workplace also. Mean girls and boys grow up to be mean women and men. And that's absolutely true. How does someone get in touch with you to donate a hat, to make a hat and send it to you?
So there's so many ways actually now that because we've grown so much, and with thanks to the beautiful, what I refer to as blue soldiers out there communicating the message of Hat Not Hate. So one, they can always go to our website, which is hatnothate.org, and it is we've worked very hard. My project manager, Meg, and myself have worked very hard in trying to answer all the questions a person could have about Hat Not Hate, including my story of why I started Hat Not Hate, including, information about drop-off points and patterns and why blue, everything you need to know about Hat Not Hate. You can go to hatnothate.org. You can follow us on Instagram. You can go to our Facebook page. And even so, you can find out about it on my daily live streaming show, which is called the Shi Show. And the Shi Show actually started at the beginning of the pandemic, and that started March 19th was our first episode, and I stream live every day, Monday through Friday, 12 to 12:30, and we have different people come on, whether they are knitters and crafters, or they are psychologists, or they are life therapists, or they are coaches, or they are yoga instructors, whatever I can bring to this community of viewers to inspire and to ignite and to create. That's what I want, because I know that a lot of us throughout this pandemic, especially myself, have been alone for, if not all of it, parts of it. And I wanted to make this Shi Show a space where people could come together and really grow as a community. And they have. And Hat Not Hate has been a big part of it. And one of the most exciting things in 2020 was the fact that we partnered with Creativity for Kids, and we came out with a Hat Not Hate Quick Knit Loom, which means, Betsy, if you've never knitted or crocheted, which I believe you said you've never knit or crocheted, correct?
No, never did.
And that's
No.
okay. That's okay. Because now you can purchase this loom, and it's available on lionbrand.com. It's available on hatnothate.org. It's available on Amazon. It's available pretty much everywhere. And it comes with enough yarn to make two hats. So one hat to give and one hat to wear. So, you make this hat, and then you can make the other hat and donate it to Hat Not Hate. And it really, I have used the loom, and I've made a hat in under 2 hours. And you don't need to know how to knit or crochet. It's very easy, and you feel accomplished. And there's something to say about knitting, crocheting, looming, all those things where that the benefit of, the benefit for your health comes in also, I think that nowadays, especially during this pandemic, we have been kind of our abilities of going out and socializing with people in person and all that has kind of been ripped away from us, and now we're kind of tied to our screens, whether it be our TV screens, our telephone screens, our computer screens, and that's what we're just being stimulated all the time by those screens. And for me, knitting and crocheting and looming kind of quiets the mind. And it has helped me pre-pandemic get through a lot of dark stuff, and even just a rough day at work, I'll take my needles out and I'll get on my hat or my cowl. But especially now, taking that time to break away from those screens and that stimulation of a screen and really work on stimulating your mind in a very different way and exercising your mind in a very different way. And I think that that's what's great about the loom is that my nephew, who's 12 years old, who has not a craft, I mean, he's actually quite talented with arts and crafts, but he wouldn't want to know that I just said that on a podcast. But he did. He actually came on the Shi Show, and he talked about his experience of making a hat using the quick knit loom, and that he felt accomplished and he felt good about himself. And this is a kid who loves Fortnite, you know. And I think that the loom is not just for kids; it's for adults, and it's for anyone who wants to be creative and you know, have this ability to, you know, kind of experience working with yarn, but also at the end of the day, make something and feel like they're a part of something, which is the Hat Not Hate community.
That is so awesome, Shira. I just can't thank you enough for coming on and sharing. You know what? I think personally, when you've been bullied, that you have more compassion and empathy for someone who was bullied. And, you know, you talked about, like, your mom said it was a rite of passage. I told my mom I was being bullied. She told me it was my imagination, just smile at them. So that really wasn't too helpful. Bullying wasn't acknowledged back in my day. Now it's being acknowledged, and I'm glad it's being acknowledged. And I'm glad that you're doing something powerful about it. And if I could go on a microphone and tell the world, you know, I'm on a microphone now, but just stop. Just stop the hate. It's ridiculous. It's so unnecessary. And, you know, we don't have to agree with anyone's beliefs or lifestyle, but you don't have to hate them and bully them either. And actually, my hairstylist told me he was bullied in school, even by a teacher. That's horrible. And it's not right, folks. It's really not right. I really have empathy, and I think what happens here, and this was my experience, I was bullied. So what did I do? I looked for someone that I could bully to make me feel powerful. I mean, I was, you know, in high school. Not that I really made their life miserable, but I would call the names not nice. It was not a nice thing to do. But this is, I think, what happens, and this is why we have to stop the bullying, because I wouldn't want a child, a teenager, an adult to feel like they would have to bully someone else to feel powerful. You want to feel powerful? Join the Hat Not Hate program and do something and try to be an influence where you are about bullying. And that's, you know.
Yeah, I could not agree with you anymore, Betsy. And I will say that we had an amazing member of the, you know, a blue soldier of mine, as I refer to them. And unfortunately, he passed away suddenly over the summer. But he was someone that actually from day one, when I started the campaign, he was by my side making blue hats. He was marching on, communicating the message, telling everyone about it. And he actually spoke so much about it and brought so much light to Hat Not Hate that he was posting about it on his social media. And now, granted, this is a man of 60-plus years old. And he posted about it on his social media to a point where one of his bullies that bullied him when he was younger, reached out to him and apologized. And
wow.
It's something that, I never even imagined, and that's not the first story that I've heard about that's happened because of Hat Not Hate. But I think that it's just so important to, like you said, bring light to this problem that is there, and that we need to make a change about it. And we can by making this hat. And I have to tell you, Betsy, when these kids receive these hats, because I have been there when they've gotten these hats, and they are so happy. They are over the moon to receive something that is handmade. And to quote one of my amazing viewers, it's like a hug on your head,
Yes.
I don't know if listeners out there have ever received something that is knit or crocheted, and Betsy, you mentioned, I think, that your mother is a crocheter. Did I hear that correctly?
Yes, she was. Yes,
yeah.
She used to crochet and knit. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that when people make something, I know for me, when I knit or crochet something, with every stitch, I put in so much love and intention into that piece, that whether it be for myself or whether, especially when it be for someone else, that I hope that they feel that. And that's what these hats, right now in our offices, over, 30,000 hats have. There's so much love and intention and care into each and every one of these hats. And if you are listening and you are inspired, I hope you go check out hatnothate.org and you see what this campaign is about, because it's really it's bullying can lead itself to being very alone for the bully and for the person that's being bullied. And what I want to do is I want to eliminate that feeling of alone. So hopefully by people listening today, they can hear that, and maybe they feel a spark. It's a new year. It's 2021. Maybe they want to take up a new hobby. They want to try something new. And I really hope that they can that they're inspired to go check out Hat Not Hate.
Thank you, Shira. You are a beautiful person, inside and out. And I thank you for coming on my show and for doing what you're doing. We need to stop the hate, folks. Join forces with Shira's Hat Not Hate campaign. If you know how to knit, crochet, do the loom, do it. I just think it brings me to tears, actually. It just touches my heart, because unless you know what it's like to be bullied and feel so alone and hurt, you don't know what it's like for a child. And parents, keep your lines of communication open. Listen to your child if they're telling you they're being bullied. And I want to thank you again, Shira. I just love what you're doing. And
thank
folks,
you, Betsy, for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you so much. And, folks, read the blog, because the blog is going to have a lot of information where you can get in touch with Shira and find out more about her campaign. I want to thank Jeannie White, who's station manager, Passion World Talk Radio, for producing the show, writing the blog, and Lillian Caldwell, CEO. I did a goof in the beginning. Our mantra is educate, enlighten, and entertain. So that's our mantra, folks. I sometimes goof with that. Sorry. And I just want to tell everyone, be kind. That's all it takes. We're all fighting a battle. And just show the love, okay? I grew up in the 60s, what can I tell you? But really, you need to show the love. Doesn't matter who someone is, what they are. It doesn't matter. Okay, we're all human beings. So just show the love. Love up on each other. And that's what I have to say to you, folks. You can hear this podcast wherever you hear your podcast. Amazon.com is one of them. And subscribe. It's for free, Chatting with Betsy. And you will hear guests like Shira. And you can learn. I do. So thank you, everybody, for listening. Please share this podcast. It will help somebody. I know it will. And let's join in with the Hot, Not Hate campaign. Until I chat again, this is Betsy Wurzel, host of Chatting with Betsy and Passionate World Talk Radio. Bye-bye now.